Good afternoon, class and students. How's everyone doing today? We are entering which week? Do we know? Anyone? Can anyone tell me which week we're entering for this term? This is week number 7. That is right. Week number 7. Welcome to another class right here, right now at Wasa Distance Ed here live in Silico. This is PLAR History/Geography with your teacher Jonathan. That's right, I'm your teacher for this course. Yes, like I said, we're entering week number 7. We're back in class live. I know last class on Thursday I was away in Pacanchicum representing Wasa at their career fair. Fantastic time, a little day trip. We chartered up along with myself, Candace, and Erica. Again, they did a fantastic job in hosting. Met a lot of great staff and students. Again, great time. But we're back at it. Again, last class was a pre-recorded class. So again, apologize for that, for any inconvenience. If you have any questions in regards to that class or any content relating to that, please let me know. Okay? But yes, we're entering week number 7, which means that we have not 1, but 2 weeks left after this week. Okay, so not much time left before this term is done. Like always, you know what to do, right? Make sure you call in the Wasa studio right now. Don't even think about it. Don't even hesitate. Just call in right now. That way you can listen, ask questions, and participate with us. Again, make sure you log on to Smart Bridget or Bridget. That way you can see what I'm seeing. Again, hopefully it gives you a visual representation of the content, the pictures and notes for today's class, if you are a visual learner. But if you're fine with just listening, that is okay too. Again, on my screen is my contact info. If you have any questions regarding schoolwork only, okay, don't just call me and start talking about other non-related educational purposes. But if you have any questions in regards to this course, PLAR History/Geography, or programs here at WASA, or course-related potential grads, then sure, I'll be more than happy to sit down and chat with you. If you need help, I can tutor you. But if you're just calling for random purposes, again, let's not deal with that. Okay, so again, let's try to stick it to educational purposes only. Again, same thing for email. It's on the screen. So again, you have any questions or need help with your course contents, I'm here to help. Okay. Our fax number is on the screen as well. So again, if you want to take your own initiative and fax your own work, sure, why not? But most cases, your DC can take care of that. Again, on Facebook, you can find me at jhowasa. Any questions, comments, concerns, you can get a hold of me there as well. Just inbox me. All right. Okay. So again, like I said, we're almost at the end of the school year. We do have another potential grad meeting this coming Friday morning. So I have been reaching out to all my potential grads that's on my list for Cat Lake, Bearskin, and Big Trout. So again, just let me know how you are progressing with those courses that you're trying to finish up, so that we can know for number-wise who's graduating, who's not. Okay. So again, potential grads in Big Trout, Bearskin, and Cat Lake for my potential grads. Again, just let me know. I will be and have been reaching out to you. So again, make sure you respond to my email. If your phone number is not working, please give me a new phone number so I can reach out to you. Okay? What else is on the agenda for today? I think that's pretty much all the housekeeping items we have. One announcement. I know staff here wants to know, but I think it's appropriate time now to let all my students know, is that yes, I will not be returning to my duties next year for the new school year here at WASA. Okay, so again, after this term, I will not be returning to my duties come the fall. Don't know what lies ahead of me in terms of my teaching career and my profession, but again, this is the end for me here at WASA. So again, maybe that's a little bit extra motivation for you, class and students, to get your work done. because who knows, the teacher coming in the fall could alter their content wise differently. So again, if you have already done the work and you really want to finish up, great time to do that. Okay, so again, continue to work on assignments. Again, don't need to be worried about anything or procrastinate, but again, don't be discouraged. But again, if you need help, let me know. I'm here to help you with that. Okay. Again, a lot of these questions on or in your workbook, again, is just preparation for your final tests. I have one student today, for example, I'm not going to tell you the name or which community, but I gave them lesson 5 to work on today, and that student just submitted all their questions and assignments for lesson 5. That just demonstrates and show that it is doable if you just take that time to work on these assignments. Again, most of them won't take too long to work on or to complete, so it is doable if you want to finish up today, by the end of the week, or even next week. Okay, should not take long. And before we get started, again, reminder, if you want a USB stick with all the lessons, again, that can be set up for you as well. Okay, so again, keep working on your assignments. Again, the last date, the due date is Friday, June the 16th. Again, to submit any work related to PLAR. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns. Again, make sure you call in the WASA studio. Log on to Bridget as well. So today, I don't have a hook activity or a video to show. However, I do have a video later on during the class, which I'll show. It's about a 3-4 minute video. Should be fun, should be exciting. That's related to today's class content. So again, I don't want to spend too much time doing our minds on a hook activity, since I have a video later on to show that's related to today's class content. So again, make sure you tune into that. Very exciting. It should be fun as well. So again, as you can see on the screen, we're just working away through lesson number 5. Okay, we're still looking at physical geography. Where are we in our textbook, you may ask? Well, let's open that up and turn to page 41. Okay, page 41, where it starts looking at landform regions. Okay, that's where we begin in today's class. Again, on page 41. And then at the end of today's class, we'll be looking at content and questions on assignment number 12. Okay? So again, sit back and learn along with us. All right, let's get to our learning goals and our success criteria. Again, we're always looking at physical geography, okay? We're always looking at different aspects within physical geography. That's our learning goal. Our success criteria is that I know I'm successful when I can describe characteristics about the Canadian Shield, which is one of Canada's landform regions. We'll be also looking at describing characteristics about the Niagara Escarpments. Then we'll be naming the 3 types of rocks and how they are formed. And then finally, we'll be looking at explaining the purpose of the Biosphere Reserve. In other words, looking at resource management strategies. All right. So that's the game plan for today. That is the agenda for today. So shall we begin if there's no other questions, okay? Canada's landform, again, it talks about this on page 41 in your textbook. As you can see on my screen, I have another map of our country, Canada, and you can see a lot of different colors representing different physical regions here in Canada. Again, it has some characteristics based on which region we're located here in Canada. But again, as you can see on the screen, there are lots. Okay, we're not going to look at each one in great details because we'll just be here all day and we don't want to do that. but we're just going to focus on one main physical region here in Canada, and that is the green area. Can anyone tell me what the green area in terms of physical landform region is called here in Canada? Anyone can see it? If you had said Canadian Shield, you are correct. Okay, so this is the region we're looking at for today, this greenish area. Okay, what makes it unique? What makes it stand out? What does that landform region have in common in terms of its landform? Again, like always, if you're interested in other aspects within Canada's landform or physical region, again, just do a quick little Google search and you'll find more unique details by each one. But we're just focusing on the Canadian Shield. Why? Because it is in our textbook, and that's what we're gonna follow along. So again, on page 41, you have a little definition of the Canadian of the landforms right here, and then it moves on to the Canadian Shield. So I can see from your textbook, okay, word from word, Canada has many landform regions. Landform regions are areas of land that have same major surface features. 50% of Ontario land area consists of the Canadian Shield. Okay. So I can see Ontario, which is probably around right here, give or take. Again, it has many different areas of landforms, but the majority of it is the Canadian Shield. What's awesome about it is that here in Sioux Lookout and a lot of our communities are located within the Canadian Shield. So hopefully you can see that representation, some connections, some patterns relating to your community. So again, like I already mentioned, landform regions are area of land that has the same major surface features. 50% of Ontario is, as you can see, the Canadian Shield. This red area. Okay, so let's look at what is the Canadian Shield, what makes it unique, what makes it stand out. So the Canadian Shield is again one of Canada's largest landform regions, not just in Ontario, but in all of Canada. Okay, what makes it unique is that it has poor soil and rough terrains. It's discouraged farming. It has rich mineral stone houses such as metal, copper, lead, nickel, zinc, uranium, and even more. So again, lots of trees. Okay, you can see trees for endless. Again, hopefully you can see that same connection within your community. As you walk around your community, you can see lots of trees and lots of lakes as well, freshwater lakes. Very common within a lot of our communities and within the Canadian Shield. As you can note, perhaps the soil is not the greatest, not great for agriculture, vegetation, growth, and for farmers. So it's really dense and really rough in terms of its terrains. Again, lots of heavy, dense evergreen trees and lots of freshwater lakes as well. What also makes it unique is that, again, it has a lot of minerals. So again, great for mining. You can find lots of unique metals, minerals, rocks within this region as well. So again, that's what makes it unique within the Canadian Shield. Other aspects for some other, for example, landforms, again, what makes them unique is that it could be weather, it could be climates, it could be population as well. But within the Canadian Shield, these are just some surface that makes it unique and stand out. Okay, the visual landscape helps us to understand society and development. A lot of lands are unknown, therefore it needs to be colonized. Floods can change the landscape and even a lot of the community as well. Therefore, when there needs to be built certain ways, Again, because of each landforms, they have different social, political background representation as well. All these aspects that we must take into account and keep in mind and use the land based from what the land is all about. Okay, so that's a little bit about the Canadian Shield. So again, right here in the same paragraph, that's where you can find more about the Canadian Shield, and that's where you can find all the answers to the Canadian Shield. As you scroll down in your textbook to the next paragraph, you can see more content about glaciers and encrustments and what they're all about. So let's look at what glaciers and encrustments are all about. Again, this all begins on page 42 in your textbook. Does it help if I write down the page number on the screen? Yes, no? If it does, just let me know and I can continue to do that. If it makes no difference, then we shall not. I'll just continue to say it. So what are encrustments? Well, let's first look at glaciers. Encrustments are basically effects from glaciers that have retreated during the Ice Age period. I'm not going to talk about the Ice Age period, but just a snapshot. Millions and thousands of years ago, our continent was covered in thick sheets of heavy ice. Eventually, that all melted away, and as a result of that, it carved out different land features on our Earth's surface. So glacier carves out valleys. It created all these lakes that we have, hills, mountain ridges, bumps. Who knows? Okay. That's why things are the way they are. That's why some areas have mountains, some have lots of lakes. A great example are Great Lakes. So again, that's an example of the effects within the glaciers and the retreating during the Ice Age period. What also comes out of this is encrustments. Okay, encrustments are cliffs that display a transition between different rock formations, often formed by faults. Okay, think about elevation or a steep hill. Okay, so something that looks like this, whereas flats, then all then dips for a second. Again, it's often created by erosion, weathering, and who knows, okay? Or you can simply think about uneven land forms or uneven elevations. Going back to your textbook, again, this is all on page 42. Again, it talks right here about glaciers and how they retreated millions of years ago. It talks about what are encrustments. So in other words, think of it as a steep slope. Okay, a big giant steep slope. There are excellent visual examples in your textbook. I can see from these textbooks and these illustrations on page 42 how some surface areas are higher than others, different unique rocks are being carved out. Again, that's all effects from, erosion, weathering, and even from the Ice Age period. There's an awesome article in your textbook. I'll be on the next page, page 43 or page 44. We'll double check that very shortly. But it is entitled, What is the Niagara Encrustments? Okay. Located near my hometown, give or take about an hour and a half drive just south-ish towards of Toronto, towards the Niagara and Hamilton area. It is known as the Niagara Escarpment. What makes the Niagara Escarpment is that it is federally and provincially protected land. It is over 725 kilometers long. It has unique visual landscape that's again created by erosion and glaciers over time. It has mountains. It's known as the Giant Great Arch. It's basically a giant cliff. It even extends even towards down in the United States. It has geological significance. Again, awesome for forests, wetland, hills, farm, mining. It even has waterfalls, recreational activities, historical sites within town, cities limits as well. So again, Milton and Hamilton area, that's what makes the Niagara Escarpment unique and special because of its unique visual landscape. If you want to know more about that Niagara Escarpment, again, make sure you read this article. Okay, this article that is in your textbook that starts on page 44. So I basically just copy and paste it on the screen, but this is on page 44. Again, make sure you take time to at least skim through it, as there will be questions about the Niagara Escarpments in your workbook. But again, it's just unique the way it's created. Create a new foundation, great for walking trails. Again, the Bruce Trail and the Hamilton area, very unique, very special as well. But essentially, the article just tells you how they're created, what makes it stand out and unique and special. Again, more visual representation of escarpments. Again, glaciers, think about thick sheets of heavy snow and ice. Again, as you can see, this is the escarpments from overhead, from the sky. See how long it is? See how essentially it's just a giant slope? Okay. At the bottom left, I got pictures of Hoodoos, which is located out west in Drumheller in Alberta. Again, all this unique sand, kind of like a mini Grand Canyon right in our own backyard. But again, more pictures of elevation in terms of rocks and hills, the way it's land, higher and lower. Great way to remember escarpment. Okay, so again, think of a slope, a steep slope that helps you remember, okay? Alrighty, any questions, class, so far? Alright, so next, move along. We'll be looking at a bit of resource management strategy, known as the Biosphere Reserve. Again, this is on page 45 in your textbook. Again, you will see the Biosphere Reserve come up again as one of your questions. So again, it's important that we understand the purpose behind the Biosphere Reserve, its goals, purpose, and what are the main areas or zones within the Biosphere Reserve. So the goal and the purpose of the Biosphere Reserve from your textbook is to achieve a balance between protection and significance of ecosystem and development. Okay, I'll say that one more time. Achieve a balance between protection of significant ecosystem and development. In other words, something that we want to protect and maintain. Okay, Biosphere Reserve is basically a part of conservation, where we monitor, where we educate, where we use workshop, ecotourism, farming, forestry to protect what we want to protect. Why? Because it's unique. Okay, a biosphere is basically a part of our planet that support life, how we should live with nature, in other words. So again, anything that's living, it could be us humans, it could be wildlife, it could be animals, it could be simply just nature. How we use it, how we support it, how we maintain it. An ecosystem basically is protecting parks, wildlife areas, so that it's not in danger or being destroyed. To help conserve biodiversity, we must demonstrate sustainable development for the future. Because if we don't, it could get damaged, lost, or gone forever. So in order to protect something, for this case, it could be a tree, it could be a waterfall, it could be a particular area, whatever the case may be, there needs to be a game plan. Okay? There needs to be a game plan implemented and an action taken. Okay, that involves inclusive and a collective involvement, not just from management, but from the community and the local people level as well. Hence why you see there are three main zones. Okay, three main zones. The three main zones are one, core area, two, buffer zone, and three, the transitional zone. So one, the core area is designed to protect whatever that is you want to protect. Again, it could be a stream, it could be a valley, it could be a forest, it could be a wetlands. Okay, again, whatever you want to protect, that is called the core area. What's around the core area is number two, the buffer zone. Okay, the buffer zone is like setting up a barrier, okay, a fence, activities to conserve what is that we want to protect so that it's not being stepped on, not being touched, not being destroyed. That is called the buffer zone. And what's around the buffer zone is called the transitional zone. The transitional zone consists of us, local community members getting involved within the resource management development strategy. Okay, where we buy in terms of the strategy, in terms of what's being told us to do so that we can protect it for future use. So again, everyone must do their part, not just from the government, not just from the local, but everyone, even community members as well, you and I. Okay, so that's the goal behind Biosphere Reserve. Again, it's created by provincial and federal government to protect what we want to protect. Great examples can be, again, the Niagara Escarpments, as is protected federally and provincially as well. Because it's part of, our history, our visual representation, and so forth as well. All going back into, again, help conserve biodiversity to demonstrate sustainable development for the future. Okay, so that's the Biosphere Reserve. Again, note its goal, protection, and development, and what are the three main zones within the Biosphere Reserve. Again, all this is outlined in your textbook on this page, page 45, right here, right there. Can't miss it, all right there. Again, Biosphere Reserve right here, what its goals are. Again, you got the core area, you got the buffer zone, transitional zone. Again, I'm just highlighting the key points that we just went over. Okay, so again, should be easy to find. Again, that's all on page 45 in your textbook. Okay. Questions with that? Again, it goes back into, again, protecting endangered species, supporting certain flowers and birds. But again, it's all part of our ecozone that we want to protect and maintain for the future. In 1990, the Biosphere entitled the Niagara Escarpment as one of 16 sites in Canada that needs to be protected. It has challenges, it needs to be protected. Again, it has a lot of outdoor activities, but again, all going back into sustainable development for the future in terms of our activities. Questions, comments, concerns, things I want to share. Awesome. So let's move along to our next topic, which is kind of like our last one for today. As you see from the screen, there are, or we are going to look at, types of rocks. Okay, types of rocks. So there are three types of rocks: igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. So like I mentioned earlier, I do have an awesome, exciting video, which is about 3 or 4 minutes long. I'm going to show it right now because it's awesome, about looking at rocks. Okay. Do you all know who this man is right here? This man is a beauty. Not just a beauty, but he is even a legend. Okay. Does everyone know his name? His name is Bill Nye. Okay. You might have known him from Bill Nye the Science Guy growing up, or his new show that's out on Netflix, which I haven't yet to see. For me, personally, I grew up watching Bill Nye, known as the Science Guy. Even though this is geography in terms of PLAR history/geography, or the social studies components, it's never a bad thing to integrate other academic subjects as well. So in this case, we're integrating a bit of science as we're looking at rocks. Okay, rocks is a unit within science where we look at rocks in terms of its color and texture, whether it's dull or shiny, the different shapes, is it hard or soft, and so forth. But for our main purposes for this course, we're looking at how rocks are being formed. We're not looking at one or two, but we're looking at three different types of rocks. As you can see, igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. Okay. In this short 4-minute video by Bill Nye, the Science Guy, which I found on YouTube, again, if you want to rewatch it again, you can see the link is posted on top right here. Also linked on right here as well. So you can just copy that, paste it, or you can simply just Google Bill Nye the Science Guy, type in rocks. Very, very simple. So as we watch this video, which I'll play very, very momentarily, I want you to pay attention about these three rocks, okay? How they are formed, what makes them different from one another, and some characteristics that they have, okay? So again, pay close attention about each of these three rocks: igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic. So Bill Nye does an excellent job about explaining how each one is formed, and then we'll come back as a class as a whole, and then we'll be debrief, we'll discuss, and we'll recap as well. Okay? Do you all get that? Understand that? So again, watch the video. Just make short little notes on your page, on your sheet, about how each of these three rocks are being formed. Okay? That's explained by Bill Nye. And feel free to have any questions as well as you watch it. I know the video quality is not the greatest. It is old. It's even before my time. But again, it still has excellent content in terms of what's being called here. Okay? So here we go.
Science Guy, brought to you by rocks. Did you ever stop to think that the whole world is covered with rocks? And every rock used to be different. When you're looking at a rock, you're looking at history. Careful. See, all the rocks in the world used to be melted rocks, what we call molten rocks. Molten. Like this molten rock in here. And do you see the bubble on top? It's from the heat. It's just like the rocks that come out of volcanoes. Rocks like this, rocks like this, rocks like these. See these pits? They were formed by bubbles in liquid rock that came out of a volcano. Now sometimes the rock from volcanoes will come up onto the Earth's surface. Now when these rocks get on the Earth's surface, they push other rocks down. It pushes down on the layers below. Push the old rocks down. Push them down, and they'll squeeze together and swirl around. And when they blend together, they form a new type of rock, like the minerals that are swirled together in this piece of marble. Anyway, wind and rain moving over the Earth's surface break rock down into sand. Sometimes enough water will flow through the dust and sand, mix them together, push it around, it'll dry out again and turn back into rock like these. Good thing I have my safety glasses on. Now this process where rocks are formed, broken down, and reforming as they come out of the molten earth and turn back into dust, into rocks again, has been going on since the world was formed. Billions of years ago. Rocks! Rock! Rocks! Rocks!
Rocks are formed in different ways. All the material in this sandstone once belonged to other rocks. That rocks.
Scientists like to think of 3 types of rock. Now, the first type you might call igneous rock. Igneous rock. Now, igneous comes from the word for fire. You know how you ignite the candle and you have igneous rocks? You know, igneous, ignite, that's from the word for fire. So see how the candle wax drips down the outside of the candle? Well, igneous rocks are often formed when hot lava drips down the outsides of volcanoes, and it cools to form rocks like this granite. See? The next type of rock we call sedimentary rock. Now, sediment, that's silt, mud, goop in rivers. So if you have a river and it's washing sand, mud, or silt, sediment, downstream, well, eventually the river may dry up or drain away, leaving the sediment, the sand, silt, or mud. Now, this sand would be heavy. It crushes down on itself, like this, squeezing itself together. So eventually, after the water is completely drained away, after a few thousand years, you end up with a rock like this one. See the layers? Sedimentary rock often has layers in it because that's the way sand washes downstream in a river. Now, the last type of rock is sort of a combination of the other two. We call it metamorphic rock. Now, metamorphic means it's changed, it's metamorphosized. So, if you look at this, this is rock that was once sand, but it's been smushed together by huge pressures under very high heat. Pressure and heat, smashing the rock till it's just crushed flat like this. See, heat and pressure formed another rock.
All right. Enough of that. So, did we all enjoy that little short video by Bill Nye? Again, I know it's a really old video, but again, that's not the point. The point is that it does demonstrate how each of these types of rocks are being formed: igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. So again, hopefully you get a good and different analysis and interpretation in terms of how each of these rocks are being formed. Not just how I explain it, but in terms of it's different from the textbook. Sorry, I have to get my little microphone tangled up here. But again, it's different point of view that's just not just from your textbook, the way I explain it, but from a video point of view. So let's come back, let's debrief a little bit in terms of what each rocks are all about. As you can see from my screen, I got a little more illustration about types of rocks. Again, igneous rock formed by, volcano, molten lava being melted. And then we have a sedimentary rock formed by a combination of rocks, fragments, seashells, chemicals, and being compressed by layers in water, hardened with created by layers. And then we have metamorphic rock. Okay, metamorphic again means change, as it's being changed by heat and pressure from over time as well. So I don't expect you to know the names of each rock and pick it up and tell me what type of rock it is. That could be awesome. Again, I'm not a rock expert, but again, there are many different types of rocks, many different types of minerals as well. Again, a mineral is different from a rock, as a mineral is a pure substance, whereas a rock is made up by more than one pure substance. So, just a little recap and review of each one. Igneous rock, again, formed underground or above ground, melted rocks called magma that explodes or erupt from a volcano that eventually cools off, and that forms an igneous rock. Again, created from a volcano, when it erupts, it spurs out hot molten magma or lava. It will cool down and harden when it reaches the Earth's surface. So again, types of igneous rock could be a granite, and basalt, just to name a few. Obviously, there's lots more. I'm just giving some examples. Again, you're not expected to know the names of types, but just how they are formed would be awesome. 2, sedimentary rock. Again, wind, water, erosion break down the rock. Heat and pressure from millions of years eventually change that rock as well. It washes and sits at the bottom of rivers and oceans as well. Again, sedimentary, formed by years and years of sediments compacting together and becoming hard. Streams and rivers will carry lots of small pieces of rocks, which sits at the bottom over a long period of time. Talk about millions of years, will form into a solid new rock. So, often a sedimentary rock, again, it has layers. So when you have a rock, if you see different layers on it, good indication that it is a sedimentary rock. Can be found near water shore or lakes or oceans, but examples could be a sandstone or a limestone. It could be a chalk or clay. Again, as Bill 9 talks about sediments, thinks about water and mud, but again, that's not an example of clay. So again, that's just to name a few examples of sedimentary rock. Okay? Again, just know how each one is being formed. Again, the big hint here is water and wind breaking it down. And finally, the last one is a metamorphic rocks. Again, metamorphic simply means change. Heat and pressure found inside the Earth's crust, again, from heat and pressure eventually made and formed into new types of rocks. Again, there's all examples of, the rock cycle, which we will not get into really in depth, but again, example of metamorphic rock could be marble or slate. Okay, just to name a few again. But again, key one here is heat and pressure makes metamorphic rock. Alrighty. Again, in your textbook, you can find rocks on page 47 right here. Okay. You got igneous rock, sedimentary rock, and metamorphic rock. Again, just know how each one is formed or created. All right. So that's pretty much the content-wise for today's class. So now let's get to your assignment questions. Let's look at them, go over them in detail so that we all know what they're all about. Maybe I'll give you class a bit of time to work on them in class. Again, like I already mentioned, these questions should not take you extremely long. For this assignment, number 12 in particular, should take you about, again, 15 to 20 minutes to complete. Like I mentioned earlier, again, I had a student who was given lesson 5 assignments to work on, and that student worked on it all morning long and a bit of afternoon, and finished all their assignments from lesson 5 and handed them in today. Again, that just demonstrates and show that it is doable. It doesn't take too long to get them done. And once you're done, you can write your tests and then you can get your credit. Okay, so again, just gotta spend that little time and effort. I know we all have busy lives, but again, we just gotta get them done. Hence why you register and sign up. Again, I'm here to help if you need it, but again, these are nothing difficult, not asking for a lot. Again, really straightforward as well. So question 1, why the Canadian Shield is considered Canada's stone house of metallic minerals? Question 2, how were glaciers responsible for landforms? Question 3, what is encarcement and describe how they're formed? Question 4, deals with the article, what is the Niagara encarcement? 5, what is the biosphere reserve? And name 3 main zones out of it. And question 6 deals with rocks. Name each rock. And for each rock, tell me how they are formed for 2 marks each. That's it. Again, detailed sentences. If you're unsure, let me know. Give me a little example. I will give you feedback. Best way to improve as well. Okay? So go through your textbook, go through your notes, work on this assignment or any other outstanding assignments for the remainder of the class. I'm here online for the next few more minutes to answer any of your questions, comments, concerns. But that's simply it for today. Okay, so again, as you work on these assignments, questions, you got a question, just call me, email me, leave a message, and I'll get back to you as I can. Again, just gotta attempt them. Okay, not asking for a lot. Just let me know how you're doing. It just shows me if you're understanding the content wise and able to answer these questions in detail for complete sentences. Again, these questions, these assignments are just preparation for your final tests. But again, no need to stress out. Don't need to be discouraged about anything. But again, it just needs to be done. Okay, it just needs to be done, especially for PLAR history and geography. Again, reminder, there are 2 weeks left after this week for this term. Not a whole lot of time, but again, still plenty of time. So, with that being said, I just want to remind everyone that next class is Thursday. We're just going to continue looking at physical geography lesson number 5. We will be looking at, again, functional regions, weather and climate, trees, and lots about ecozones. Okay, so that's what we have in store for Thursday of this week. Again, not a huge lesson coming up this Thursday. Again, if we have time, we might add in a little music break. If you want to hear a particular certain song, let me know. We can get that set up as well. But again, any music requests, that can be done as well. But again, just work on these assignments. Again, a lot of teachers here at Wassa are traveling this week. Again, we have a couple of teachers that are away today and parts of tomorrow. These some are in Sachiko and Waterman today. Some shall be back tomorrow. Others are leaving tomorrow for Fort 7. So again, it's a bit quiet around the office today and tomorrow. But again, if you have any question in regards to Polar History Geography, I'm not going anywhere. My travel schedule is done for the term, for the year. So again, I will be in my office every single day, Monday to Friday, during my regular office hours if you have any questions, comments, or concern. Okay? All right. Questions, comments, concerns? I know that no one's currently logged on to Bridget or called in, but that's okay too. Again, like always, I will post this on my YouTube page. So again, if you missed it, want to go back and check it out and watch it not once, not twice, but even 5 times, who knows? It's there on your leisure to watch it and help you with your studies as well. It will be up there all summer long. I'm not going to take it down, delete it. So again, even though I won't be marking it during the summer, you can still work on it as well. Again, during the summer term for July and August, we're not offering PLAR during the summer, but that doesn't mean that you can not work on it. Okay, you can still work on it. It just means I won't be marked until September. Okay, so again, keep that in mind as well. Again, it's also on the archive page as well, where you can download it and listen to it. But again, you can't physically, visually see the content wise. Okay. All right, I'm stopping here for today. Thank you so much for listening, tuning in. It has been fun. It's been a blast. We shall continue and pick it up this coming Thursday, same spot, same time. Enjoy the rest of your evening and supper. Goodbye for now.